Okay, so last was we had delivered the box to the operative, and then there was all that bureaucracy to get in through the town gates.
And they were just about to get in.
And we just got inside.
And the most epically long-winded interview from Cricket.
I just described the entire, all the forms that we had to fill out and how they gave her the wrong forms. And then she was like, these are the wrong forms, I need these forms. So they gave her the right forms and she filled those out. And then she hands them in and they're like, these aren't the right forms. But it's like, anyway, I won't go over it again.
We discovered that there might have been a more appropriate form that Cricket should have tried, and that was the pet form.
Yes.
But that never came up, so...
Anyway, that actually would have been pretty close. But anyway, so we started the session having just got into the city. And so we're walking through the city, and we suddenly realize that there's an elf walking with us. And we're like, what? Who are you? And I keep forgetting, what was her name?
Rovain.
Rovain is her name. She's like, Rovain, I'm a member of your party.
I've always been with
I've been with your party for a while now. And we're like, did history change? History changed, didn't it? Stupid time mages adding members to our party retroactively. So
how you won the last fight? You had one more person.
Yeah. We're okay. So Rovain, if that is your real name, you've been with our party. So we start quizzing her on stuff that only a party member would know, and she's like, "Yep, she's been with us basically since the disappearing village."
Yeah, like they asked her about that, and she was like, "Yeah, that was a terrible thing." And was like, we didn't tell anyone about that.
Yeah, it's a total secret because those time mages are after us. We got to keep that under our hats.
But she didn't know about the rift.
No,
or
basically
Captain Ultimate Fist Punch
McAwesome.
Well, and she said that she'd been with you for a couple weeks.
Yeah, but it was after that. I think it was before the village, but after Ultimate Fist Punch McAwesome. And then who was it that suddenly realized?
It was like after a bit because people were sort of cluing in, but like they were. This was when they were doing all their shopping because like they'd shop between sessions. But some of I let them buy one uncommon item, so they had to spend a lot of time screwing around shopping and whatever.
You no longer have flowing locks.
At least you have locks at all.
Yeah. Well.
There's one. Right.
So anyway, we're.
It was actually Hank. Well, there was a bunch of discussion about it, but I guess it doesn't really.
Hank was the one that
do well
actually did the exclamation.
Right, because she'd been doing things like asking like if anyone had any fish to eat or whatever. But then finally Hank was like just talking to her, and she's like, I don't even. Or he was like, I don't even know you, and she said something like. Well, yeah, you do. You've been mean to me this whole time.
And says instantly, you're parsnip. And sure enough, like, where's parsnip? It is parsnip. Yeah,
they noticed earlier that parsnip was gone, but they're like, whatever. She's a cat. She'll come back.
Yeah. So Hank's like, you're a parsnip. That's the cat that we rescued from those Warforged, and that Aurora's been doting on since then.
And Croesus.
Yeah. And so, Rovain as Parsnip. Apparently, she's under some kind of curse. What happened was, back during the war against the Eve, she was a wood elf. She was with the wood elves that were doing the sort of insurgency against the Empire. They were sneaking into slave camps and killing all the slaves, which was a valid tactic. It was nasty, but it weakened the frontline forces because they were pain slaves.
Yeah, and they were doing a few other things there. I guess that's all she mentioned. So never mind.
She mentioned that, but it was basically they were the French resistance.
Did you introduce a new person?
Yes, John's. Leah is Robin's sister, right?
She was visiting for the weekend. She visits us from time to time. So
temporary character.
Yeah. Last time she was visiting, she played Henley, a gnome.
The gnome who got eaten by maggots.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we don't need another Henley because we now have Serendipity Van Goldstrider Malore.
Right.
Well, and actually, her story will help explain what we have in mind. Because do you want to just finish it?
Well, basically, she did this mission where she was trying to kill a bunch of pain slaves, and she got captured by the Imperial wizards that were responsible for doing all the pain slaving and stuff. And they did this. In order to the mission. To sneak into the camp, the Wood Elves used spells to disguise themselves as cats as a way to sneak in, and they got caught. And so the Imperial wizards, basically as a like haha screw you thing, they super reinforced that spell somehow, which basically stuck her in cat form. I don't know, were the others also, or is it just her?
Yeah, all of them.
All of them.
And so she's basically stuck in cat form almost all the time, but occasionally she can, like, for whatever reason, she's able to, become an elf briefly and then transform back.
Whenever Leah's visiting.
Yeah, Leah visits us, on a Friday probably, I don't know. She visits us, several times a year, but on a Friday, she's probably going to be there, a couple times a year, so perfect character, right? The cat turns into an elf.
You're like,
Cat came back. Very next day.
At random times.
Mm-hmm.
So
now we got Rovain with us,
and the party just sort of accepted her because I guess she was already the party cat.
Yep.
So I think she got a warmer welcome than Serendipity.
Yep.
Did that make her angry?
Well, sort of frustrated.
At least she didn't get a party vote or anything.
Yeah. This is really breaking Cricket's brain somewhat because she's the party cat, but she's a person. So she's a person.
Yeah.
And you can't unperson a person, so she's a person. And so Cricket was trying to there's no rules about this. They didn't teach me about this in the temple.
Mushroom.
That's another mushroom.
Yeah, it was because the cat's a person, but Cricket's not a person.
Yeah.
It's all very confusing.
So
and Hank was also, when Hank found out that she was a person who'd been turned into a cat, Hank felt so sorry for her. Oh, I'm so sorry. That's the worst thing ever. It must be so awful for you.
Well,
Actually,
do you want me to kill you? So, Cricket's gonna have to gotta find a temple representative somewhere and find out what the official policy on this is. Because
I imagine this may improve Hank's relationship with Parsnip, because if he knows that Parsnip is a person turned into a cat, he feels so sorry for the cat. He may start taking care of it or something. When she's in cat form, she just has the mind of a cat, so she's not. She just does what a cat does, but she remembers it. So,
well, Cricket's going to treat her like a person from now on because she is, as far as she's aware. Better to go with that as a safe default.
well, she'll remember it even if she doesn't have any capacity to choose or whatever.
Yeah.
That was partly important just for practical reasons, because when I don't want people having to I don't have to decide what Parsnip is doing when Leah's not there. I just be like, I don't know, cat stuff.
Yeah.
Licking yourself.
Yeah. So anyway,
She was doing a bit of that, because some of the cat was wearing off. At one point, Leah was just sitting there at the table while the discussion was going on, just licking her hand. Or whatever.
So, the things in our queue were Croesus needed to go see the elders, but he was really reluctant. So we were sort of putting that off.
The conversation with Rovain was sort of interrupted when they noticed that there was a group of Oblin down across the street, pointing,
No.
and I guess it was out of character. So Shannon was like, "Oh, what are you, some sort of twisted freak or something?" But he doesn't look that much like a twisted freak. He's just scarred up. But the Oblin all treat him like he's some sort of twisted freak.
broken.
Yeah. And Cricket was getting quite cross at all these people and how they were reacting to Croesus there. It's insulting. Can't do that. At one point we were in a shop, and like the local constabulary came around. They were Mongol, I think.
Yeah, that was actually when you were in the inn, but
That was in the inn. Okay.
because they knocked on the door.
Yeah,
Can I come in?
They come in. They're we've heard reports that there's a hideous mutant freak, a hobgoblin.
Yeah, they said we've heard reports of a hobgoblin. And, You know, the rumors are going around about these evil oblin, which is the dumbest thing ever. Evil oblin, that doesn't even make sense. Anyway, someone supposedly reported one, so we just got to check it out. And Cricket was quite annoyed that they were like coming in, and that put them off because they were just like they just saw this as sort of a formality. But when Cricket was like upset about it, they were like, what's up? Why is this
Maybe
a
there's
problem,
something
right?
to this. Yeah.
But Cricket diplomatized her way them back to neutral. So they just came in and were like, yeah, I don't know, you look scarred up, buddy, but whatever. It's just a dumb thing. Whatever.
Yeah.
Sorry to waste your time.
I can kill you.
They weren't Oblin, they were Mongol.
But of course, Croesus was super. He was just getting more and more upset and kind of embarrassed. He was just embarrassed. You know, he was just like, this dream is embarrassing.
Yeah.
People coming in looking at me and
Yeah.
He was kind of getting embarrassed and sort of pouty and different than normal Croesus. Like he's still kind of weird, but just he was just really embarrassed by the whole situation.
Yeah.
Morose weird.
So, what else happened before everything else happened? I think that was about when the sending came in, right?
Yeah, you guys, I don't remember. Oh, the sending came right after that woman came up, and I forget her name, but she'd come through the Temple of Freedom and put on the ships to go to Freeport. And when she got here, her son, who had gone on a different ship through the Temple of Freedom,
made it there.
Yeah, she couldn't find him, and she was looking for him, and asked if they would help. And because when she saw Cricket, she was excited because it was a familiar face. She'd been a slave in the Eastlands for a long time, and so she was used to seeing domestics.
And Cricket was quite happy to finally be recognized as a domestic.
But the party was like, I don't know what we can do.
Pretty much.
She gave him her son.
Lost persons report.
Her name was Arika because she was a Sunlander, and her son's name was Jonas. Yeah. But so they're like, okay, we'll write his name down.
If we come across a Jonas, we'll tell him Eureka is looking for him or something. But we didn't really accept a quest there because she's just looking for someone.
Darn NPCs coming after you.
What is this? NPCs. Everyone expects us to solve their problem.
Cheese?
No, well, it was right at the end of that they got the sending from Valnar Zarago, the guy who sent them on the quest for the box.
He sent the sending to Cricket because Cricket is the party leader.
And he says, you should be almost at Greybridge by now. Our operative will be in place starting tomorrow noon. Make sure you turn right.
Nice and obscure.
Yeah. We've already delivered the box to the operative.
Make sure you turn right.
Yeah.
You guys turned left.
Yeah, they found the crazy guy.
There's a crazy guy.
Did you then backtrack and go right?
Yeah, and there was an operative there. His name was, what was it?
Stanley.
Stanley, yeah.
He was the intern.
And we gave him the box because, he says, I'm the operative. And we're like, all right, we
Never opened it.
No, we weren't supposed to. We were doing everything by the rules. So I'm like, okay, this idiot that sent us on this quest basically didn't give us enough information, and we've given the box to the wrong person. Someone was impersonating the operative there early, and we gave it to him, and So
they sent, because you can respond to a sending. And so he said basically we already gave it to them.
Yeah, we gave it to this guy. His name was Stanley.
And he responds because it's limited amount of words. I don't remember exactly, but something along the lines of, "You need to get that box back. Critical for world peace. You and I will be in jail."
Yeah, And Craig is like, "Yeah, this is your problem, buddy. You screwed up with the instructions."
My phone's in my car. I'm sitting on the seat.
Yeah, it was awesome. There was nothing more precious than Brian's reaction. I mean, I'd like to think it was Cricket's reaction, but I think a lot of it was Brian's reaction. Just like, Just like,
This quest has been stupid at every level.
and then he's just like, finally we're done with that stupid box. And it's like, operative will be in place tomorrow.
Yeah.
Turn right.
Yep. Well, we gave it to the wrong operative. Sorry. I hope you sort it out somehow.
He's like, world peace depends on you.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
I'm sure he's just like spouting off or something.
Well, you hear his tone of voice over the sendings, and he's freaking out majorly now.
Yeah, and so then he emails back, and he's like, oh yeah, we were like, we did our job, we got our pittance, we're done. And so he's like, okay, I've freed up 200,000 gold pieces of funds to compensate for sorting this all out and to help sort this all out. So we're like, oh. So now suddenly he's putting major resources. He paid us 500 gold pieces to drag these unknown adventurers show up in Valneva, where there's adventurers up the wazoo. He's like, here, I'll give you this little... Well, I won't even give you any money up front. He didn't give us any money up front. Take this box, go there. You'll get a pittance. Woo!
If he gave you our real money, be curious what was in the box.
Well, and to be fair too, the party had acted, except for Cricket, whose decision was like, screw it, let's just go back to the Eastlands. Let's leave here and never come back.
Yeah, that was my suggestion. It's like, okay, so they want to imprison us now for this thing. The solution to our problem is let's go to the Empire of Flowers and never come back here again.
But the rest of the party was like, we better help him out because the sending
200,000 is a lot.
Well, the sending offering 200,000 actually came the next day.
Yeah.
After they'd already decided they were going to do something.
We'll try and figure it out for you. We'll go and find your frickin' box.
World peace.
Yeah.
No peace.
I seriously doubt it has anything to do with world peace. It's probably like some embarrassing photo of himself or something.
That's all from the aqueducts. And
So
the
embarrassing.
roads.
Yeah.
If it came out, mass rioting would ensue.
What have the elves ever done for us?
Maybe it's deserved rioting.
Now, Croesus still had to go in to see the elders before he could leave the
we
city.
can't leave the city.
And he went there to book an appointment, but they couldn't see him for 2 days because there was this big trial going on with this oblin had been trying to raise goblin children and see if they turn out good because if they're raised in a good home. But it had been found out, and so the elders were going to render their final decision, right? And they had to weigh all the evidence because these goblin that he treats as children and their lives are in the balance, right? Mm-hmm. So they'll either be destroyed or they'll be accepted, and it's a big, huge decision, right? And so there's this big case going on, so he has to wait 2 days. Yeah. So they got special permission. I think Aurora diplomatized the guy to let Croesus leave one more time and come back.
I thought it was Cricket.
Was it Cricket? Okay.
Cricket's really into the whole bureaucracy thing. She loves that stuff.
Well, anyway, they got special permission for Croesus to leave once and come back once. And so they decided, okay, well, let's go to the cave and meet the real operative or whatever.
Yeah.
And so they go there and wait for the whole day.
He never shows.
And no one ever shows up.
We get the sending to the guy.
They get a sending. I think the next. You got a sending.
We didn't get it right then. That was the
sending that was the 200,000 gold.
Yeah.
And part of your response was your operative never showed up.
Yeah.
And so he sent another sending saying, well, when you said you already delivered the box, I told him not to go.
Yeah.
That actually seems like a perfectly reasonable.
This guy's an imbecile. Oh. Yeah, don't bother showing up. 200,000 gold are in the balance, but don't try everything you can try.
Well, I mean,
I've got my best men working on it. I don't know who they are really. They just showed up one day.
There are a fair number of incompetent things, but that particular one I think made perfect sense, right? They don't want to pay that. They don't want to pay someone to sit in a cave for 8 hours. That's a horrible job. That's not even fit for an intern.
This is the ultimate case of penny wise and pound foolish. He's saving every coin he can, and then when it all screws up, he's like, "Oh, holy crap! I have to spend $200,000 to sort gold pieces to sort this all out." So anyway,
But there was some good that came from sitting around that cave for 8 hours doing nothing.
yes, we just searched it continuously for 8 hours, trying to find some evidence of the previous guy. Oh, and of course, Croesus replenished his stock of Makir.
Because Serendipity had taken it all away.
While he was drunk on Makir, Serendipity had stolen all of his remaining stock.
Wisely.
Yeah, and then afterwards, Croesus was like, "This dream sucks. My Makir just disappeared. It's supposed to stay where I put it, but it just disappeared." So he got more because there was a huge stock in this cave, and previously he'd just taken as much as he could carry. So he took, again, as much as he could carry. And now he's watching it to make sure it doesn't disappear. And so Shannon is getting quite frustrated because she wants to take it away again. And so she keeps saying, "Oh, I take it." And Gross is like, "You can't just take stuff out of my pack. You have to make a roll of some kind."
Yeah.
And she doesn't have good thievery, so yeah. So
Until he's asleep.
yeah. But also the thing is, Cricket's not going to let her take Croesus's stuff because you know it's not right. You're
That's the party
stealing party equipment. Yeah.
And you're some outsider.
You don't own that, or me, so quit it. Anyway, we're staying in this cave and just searching and searching and searching for any sign. We wanted to do object reading on the money that he had paid us with, but we've done their shopping trip, so the money's gone. And so we're like, well, what about the pouch the money was in? And John was like, he didn't give you the pouch. He just took the money out of the pouch and he kept it for
Which wasn't
himself.
really to screw them over. Just that's what I assumed you'd do.
And it's like, oh, yeah, those pouches are really valuable. It's important.
Well, they got to save money on these.
Yeah.
Wait, no.
Well, he's impersonating an operative of that guy.
Yeah,
so
so
he's like,
he's
oh,
gotta-
yeah, I have to be completely tight-fisted at every opportunity. So we didn't have anything of his, so we had to search, and we eventually found some pistachio nut shells that the guy had been eating.
Yeah, there's various.
Object reading.
There's a bunch
but-
of various food garbage around.
But
yeah.
Serendipity didn't want to object read the pistachio nut shells because they'd been in his mouth. And you have to touch them in order to object read them. So we do more searching until we finally find an uneaten pistachio nut.
Luckily you had
So
8 hours.
we like dig it out of we dig it out of the filth in the cave, and we're like, here, this hasn't been in his mouth. And she's like, all right, I'll object read that.
It's only been the filth
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
cave. You didn't mention that to her, I take it.
Wow.
Look, I found one!
Well, I don't know
clean.
what her rules are, but they're where they are. So anyway, we object read this pistachio nut, and she gets 3 questions. And we have to. This is a bit puzzling now. We're interrogating a pistachio nut.
Yeah, and they can't just they can't just ask whatever they want. It has to be something that's actually happened to the pistachio nut. It has to be significant to the pistachio nut.
So we're like,
or at least,
what life events would be significant to a pistachio nut?
or even just it can't just be like, well, it can't be. Yeah, it has to be related somehow. So.
And so we
Where were you purchased?
that was our first one. Because that'll at least give us another geographic point we can possibly go hunting on. So, the first thing we asked was, where were you purchased or whatever? When did you come into the possession of that guy, the Stanley guy? Yeah. And it was just some shop in Greywall. It was, nothing really informative. So, not a huge success, but, at least he didn't come from some weird far-off place or something.
He could come from...
Lumber town.
Yeah. There weren't, mages buying chickens in the background. Time wizards. It's one store that all that stuff comes from.
Yeah. Chickens and...
Pistachios.
Pistachios. It's a very unique kitsch store. Pistachios and chickens for time mages.
It's right.
Yeah,
it's
for
right.
time mages.
Yeah, it's right next to quills and sofas. Anyway, so the next question. I'm trying to remember. The next question. What was that one? Do you remember?
When did you enter the cave or show?
Right. Show when entering the cave. The last guy that the guy met before entering the cave.
No, it was entering the cave because that's the one question you were going to ask, and I was like, you shouldn't ask that. Because you asked you asked something about, well, when was the last time you saw the sky or something?
Yeah.
And it was just entering the cave.
Yeah.
And then you guys were like talking about what was significant to the procession. I was like, well, you could ask like the last kind of like who was the last person you were in the presence of other than Stanley or something like that.
It would have been you guys.
And then they
and
asked
us.
the last person you were close to or whatever, other than the party and Stanley. And then I was like, are you sure you want to ask that? Because like it's probably some random guy walking through the streets of this town. Mm-hmm. So then they asked the last person you talked to, or was the last person you spent 5 minutes with? Who was the last person you talked to?
Yeah.
And it was a scene at the gate of Greybridge leaving.
The bureaucracy.
And he's showing his papers to the oblong.
Yep. Well, you know, it's leads. They're not great leads, but they're leads. We could go and ask the Oblin. I mean, I'm sure we can recognize them by sight, right? Yeah.
Well, they asked me. They're like, "Well, can we see his papers?" I'm like, "Yeah, it has his
Oh,
name
yes, that's right.
and like stuff
Zoom
about
and
him.
enhance.
You know, like his address.
Zoom and enhance.
Address? Pistachio! Oh, hail the great pistachio!
Now I remember. That was the key breakthrough. We did the zoom and enhance thing on his papers.
And had his address.
That worked out.
And the reflection in his eye.
The resolution's not very good.
Yeah. So yeah, we got an address. All right. It's in this slum on the other side of Greybridge.
Yeah, it's called GIC, GCC, stands for Greybridge Construction Camp.
Or
Where everyone
UC compiler.
To where they lived when they built the bridge, and then they abandoned it. And now it's become like a shanty town where any unseemlies go to get out of Greybridge.
But the downside of this is it's once again outside of Greybridge, but on the other side of Greybridge. So we have to go into Greybridge and then come back out of it again. And we've only got...
Or you could go over.
Well, no, Greybridge is on the Greybridge. The city is the bridge. So to get over there, we have to enter the city of Greybridge and then exit it again. And we've only got one exit and enter for Croesus.
There are more ways to cross terrain than just walking over a Greybridge.
They've got lots of security.
You could, for example, fly over.
We're heroic here.
Yeah, they don't really have access to any kind of flight.
So-
Otherwise, they wouldn't have had to necessarily go to Greybridge in the
Yeah,
first
we
place.
just crossed
'cause
them.
the whole reason they came this whole way south is so they could cross to Greybridge.
So, farm experience somewhere.
Hire a pixie barbarian.
I mean, they could. I mean, they already could like bluff their way through the gates or something.
Oh, yeah.
Probably.
We could smuggle
Except
ourselves or
Croesus
something.
isn't going to be.
Croesus
Yeah.
is the real problem.
And yeah, like I think there would be opposition to trying to sneak through.
So we decide, okay, we can't actually go and investigate this address until we've had Croesus' meeting with the elders. And it's been enough time, actually, at this point, that we can actually do that.
Well, they just wasted a day in the cave. And then they killed the next day doing random stuff.
Yeah. Oh, we went and dealt with Hank's superior, right?
Oh, yes,
that
he
was,
went
that
and
was what we
reported in,
did.
'cause-
Hank reported in.
Because he was in the Greybridge Alliance. And so he was presumed to be dead because people witnessed Warforged beating him up and taking him off. So, they'd sent your son is dead letter to his mother and, whatever, like all that stuff.
So he's unbound. He can do whatever.
And they're like, yeah, you can leave without it being a dishonorable leave. So he decided, and his superior was really interested in his story, so he thought, that sounds awesome, and you can totally leave if you want to. So
And we told him about the time mages and the village that was retroactively destroyed, and it was a she, right?
it was a he.
He?
Yeah, his name was.
Oh, right. It was later on that we met the
Yeah.
what's her name, the general or whatever. Anyway, so yeah, and he was all like, "Ah, yes, okay. I'm not reporting that because they'll think that I'm crazy." Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, Hank, I know, I trust you. I know you believe that you're telling
Yeah.
the truth, but I don't want to report that.
Yeah.
But they did say there were 10 suspicious mages. But
So after that, Croesus did his visit to the elders. And that went surprisingly smoothly.
yeah, he went in there, The elders are these 3 oblin that are a little bit bigger than normal oblin. Not huge, but big. And the first one comes out and just starts saying, it looks very compassionate. What's wrong with you? And Croesus starts getting quite upset because it's embarrassing, and he's going on about this dream is embarrassing, and it's supposed to be a healing dream, and it's not supposed to be here. And finally, he shouts out. He shouts out. I'm not supposed to be here because I'm on detached duty.
Detached duty.
And then the elder who was going towards him was like, oh, I'm so sorry, and signs his papers to let him out. You're free to go.
Yeah.
And so they're free to go.
Yeah. And we'll find out what detached duty means when we listen to the interviews after this retelling. It's only a few minutes away, so you won't be in suspense for long. Anyway. So, that went quite smoothly. And then we left. For once, something actually went fairly well.
They also found out what happened with the goblin.
Oh yeah,
the goblin were not. They were still behaving like goblins, so they ordered them destroyed. And the goblin who, and the party asked, like, well, what about the guy who was doing it? And he's like, yeah, well, he accepted the elders' decision, as we all do. He's been given 2 months of grief leave, but that's just the elders decided. So all the goblin were destroyed. Failed experiment.
So we can now investigate the address that was on this guy's documents. So you go to Gick, and it's a horrible place. It's all run down in a shanty town. It's awful. And we go to the address, and it's this tenement or whatever. And we talked to the landlady. Who was it that was? I know we had a brief discussion with the person who ran the place.
Yeah, it was. I think it was landlord, but something. No, just a neighbor or something.
Yeah. I really can't remember what she said about that guy.
She just said. Well, I don't remember what they said beforehand.
Didn't she mention some rumors or something about the liaison?
I think that was after, but it doesn't really matter.
It was after, okay.
It doesn't, not really relevant, because...
Well, we ransacked his apartment, as we are wont to do. We're heroes. And we didn't find much, if I remember correctly. It was... He'd packed up and left?
Yeah, it looked like he'd packed up and left.
Yeah.
And when they talked to a guy in the street...
Didn't we find, like, a love letter or something?
Right. Crumpled under his mattress.
Yeah. Oh, that was so well
a note that said, what was it? Dear Miss Anderson, you're so beautiful. Your eyes are big like a cow's. That was crossed out. Like a frog's, crossed out. Like an ostrich, crossed out. And then it was crumpled under the mattress.
No, it was a bird. Like a bird.
Yeah. Oh, I changed it to ostrich.
Okay.
It made no sense.
Well, yeah, that's why we were having such fun with it. We were like, birds don't have large eyes. No wonder that's when he abandoned his attempt. So now we had another name. There's this Miss Anderson. Find Miss Anderson. And we talked with the neighbor or landlord or something. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, the local random guy with a gravelly voice.
That are streetwise found.
I was feeling sick that night, so I was losing my voice. So it was perfect for this guy, because he was just like...
And he says that this Stanley guy, despite living in a dive in Gick, was having a romantic liaison with Miss General Anderson or General Miss Anderson?
General Miss Anderson.
General Miss Anderson, who's like in charge of Greybridge defense or something.
She's one of like 8 generals in the city.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're like, wow, she's really dating down. So, we're going to go and find her and ask her about this guy. And Hank's connections are good for getting us in, because he was with the Yeah. So we make an appointment with Miss General Miss Anderson. And we're going to talk with her, and we're going to ask her, like, we need to know about Stanley. And she was
very sort of just sitting there, very stoic.
Yeah.
And
non-responsive.
Well, like, why is my personal relationships any of your business?
Yeah.
What are you here for?
And Aurora kicks over in a full Aurora mode, and she's like, "We're worried about him. We're very concerned."
And so she just kind of, yeah, I'm kind of worried about him too. I haven't seen him for a bit. And
now we're on her side. We're coaxing her
and
out.
they're like, talking to her. And all of a sudden, one second, I'm getting a sending. There's a giant chaos beast attacking the city. I gotta go. She bursts up to the office.
I was like, oh, that's such an obvious excuse. She's like, oh, I left my laundry running. Ah, I have to go paint my refrigerator. Sorry. And we're like, yeah, right. And then this, like, 10-story tall crab leg comes slamming down into the city, and like, Godzilla's attacking. We're like, yeah, right. She arranged this.
The whole army is mobilizing against this thing. She's like, you guys are adventurers or something, right? Take that leg. And so the party all groups around and attacks one of the legs.
Giant leg.
Sort of this crab-like thing, but it has too many legs, and the legs have like eye stalks and pinchers on them, and there's like just basically a giant blob of pinchers and eye stalks and crab legs.
Yeah.
Crushing
It's
through
a
the city.
fractal crab.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, this is a really good excuse. You've come up with a great dodge here. A+. I'll give you this one. We'll be distracted. I'll allow it. So we start fighting this thing. Giant crab leg comes down, and of course, it's a size. It was size large, size huge.
The crab leg itself was huge.
Yeah, huge. It was just a leg of the thing we're fighting. So, very first thing, Cricket runs in there with her bola. And she immobilizes the crab leg. So it's like this city-sized crab. And it's stuck now.
And one leg is stuck. The rest of it, because the legs are all moving still, but just that leg is not stuck there for one round. So
it was a really good bullet.
I didn't think it was going to try and run away or anything. I just did that because I thought that was hilarious. And it worked. If worst really comes to worst, I'm going to try Timeless Trek of Mithrendin on the leg and send it to somewhere else, some other plane, and just see what happens, because I don't know what will happen if that... Where's my leg? I was debating not mentioning that just so that John would have to come up with that on the fly.
But it is a chaos beast, so maybe it'll just be normal.
Yeah.
But.
So if we knock the rest of it back into the chasm or something, and then its leg comes back,
Take the end of the session. Right.
Does the leg die?
We didn't finish the battle. Because they actually did start into the combat.
Yeah, we got a couple rounds in. I think 2 rounds or something.
Yeah, they.
I know that my immobilize wore off on it, and then I hit it with. I can't remember.
Well, no, because the party had a turn and it had a turn. That's where we ended.
Oh, right. And it was immobilized during
because on its turn,
yeah,
it did a few things. It had pinchers on its legs that grabbed, but one of the things it did is one of the eye stalks on the leg came on and pooped some sort of weird stuff, and it made everyone go enraged.
Oh, so they're attacking allies.
Yeah, so everyone where we left is everyone on the next turn is required to attack an ally. Oh, and there's Serendipity.
Van Goldstrider Malores summoned a thing.
She summoned a magma elemental or a magma something.
Yeah.
And she summoned it on the other side of it because it will, if left to its own devices, it attacks whatever's nearest to it, either friend or foe. So it's on the other side of the leg. And it's also required to attack the party, or if it can.
But it can't, because it can't reach them.
Yeah, you're not required to move to attack. You just have to spend your standard action attacking.
And for once, for the very first time in the entire campaign, Cricket is not in a position where she's going to be the one that the whole party attacks.
Probably it's going to be Aurora.
Yep, everyone's going to go for Aurora. Oh no, that means Cricket's going to swap places with her. No, she's out of range. Ha ha! Can't save you now, Aurora.
So that is where we left it.
Yeah.
Mid.
Got quite a
He
bit
was
done
gonna
in that
die.
short session.
Yeah, there was a lot of. It was basically pure role playing, except for the last 20
Yeah.
minutes where we were fighting the crab leg.
Yeah, it was all running around looking at stuff, trying to figure stuff out, moaning about this idiot that gave us 500
Yeah,
gold pieces for-
it was the reaction when they got that sending was just priceless. Like Brian was just like, "Ah," everyone was like, "What? No!" And it was awesome.
Well, today is going very strangely. I realized I was human, and that was different. I have a sensation for eating fish. They seem to smell very good. I don't know how I got to be with the party, but I'm here, and I guess I'll follow them, and maybe I'll get to eat some fish.
Dear Diary, so it turns out that Parsnip, my cat, is a wood elf. I feel like I'm having a strange dream.
Well, this has been an eventful couple of days. We got into Greybridge, which is about time. I was able to meet with Captain Douglas, and I saw Jim too. It was awesome seeing those guys, and obviously they thought I was dead. Why wouldn't they? It's standard assumptions. But I was honorably relieved of duty. I could have stayed if I wanted to, but I have more important things on my plate right now. Like fixing Croesus. See, we did manage to get him to the Elder, and things went better than expected, actually. Although it's still really sad, and well, they have great pity on him, and which I guess is a step up from disgust, but I'm just really curious what's going on with him. But I don't know. Maybe we'll see what happens in the near future. I don't know. But yeah, there's all kinds of other weird things going on. The fiasco with the secret box. Oh man, we gave it to the wrong guy. What the crap? I have to find him, and now there's this giant chaos beast attacking us, and it's the biggest one I've ever seen, and I've fought these things before. They're not pleasant, and this, wow. And to top it all off, there's an elf here, and she used to be the cat, and what?
This is what all my years of study has boiled down to. Interrogating a pistachio. I will never be able to look my teachers in the eye.
Oh dear, this is confusing. I've encountered a situation that I wasn't trained for in the temple. Parsnip, Aurora's cat, turns out to be Rovain, a wood elf. Turned into a cat. But she's a person. My, this wasn't covered. I think I have to treat Parsnip as a person from now on to be on the safe side. At the first opportunity, though, I'm going to check in with the temple and see if I can find out how to deal with this situation. Parsnip's a person. Rovain. Parsnip is Rovain. Rovain is a person. Yes, that makes sense. I'll go with that.
I remember waiting in Tor's study. I could see out of the wall, out of the window in the wall, the fields outside, and And the lovely short grass that we've planted all around the grey wall. It grows to the same height, you understand. Just order everywhere I looked, and then Tor came in, and I showed him my finger, and I didn't say anything, because we didn't know at the time that the Oblin could catch the plague, they called it. But we knew that there wasn't any cure. We'd actually had people leave the Grey Wall to try and find something to help our friends. But everywhere we went, the answer was the same. There was nothing you could do. So I looked at Tor, and Tor looked at me. He was the commander. It was his job to look after us and to lead us. And I said I was going on detached duty. And he didn't touch me, because we didn't want to spread the plague, so he just put his hand over his heart, and I put mine on my heart, and I felt his heartbeat, and he felt mine, because they're the same heart, if you think about it, all beat at the same time. And then I left. There's a tower that stands right on the edge of the chasm. It's called the Last Tower. It's where you go when you're on detached duty. Sometimes it takes a year. Sometimes, well, that year it took a lot less, because a lot of us caught the disease. But you go there and you wait. And one by one they showed up. Chris, Fezum, Danik, Atar, Kim, Lita, a bunch of others too. And then at the first, while I was waiting, I went on patrol and I waited, and after I talked to them and we got to know each other a little bit better. And then when there were enough of us, we got out the ropes and the climbing gear. And we started down. That's what detached duty is. It's when you can't help anybody else on the Grey Wall anymore for reasons of being too injured or not strong enough in one way or the other, and it's every Oblin's choice. But when you decide to go on detached duty, it means that you're dead. But you're going to spend the last of your life taking the fight into the chasm. You're going to go all the way down. And you're going to fight the world's wound in the last way you can. And that's what we